What is up, everybody? My name is Tyler Silva, and welcome back to another episode of The Rundown with Silva. I know we took the last 2 weeks off, had some shows, had some partying to do. I was slacking, let's just be honest. But we are back, and today my guest is someone new to my family, if you want to ask me, new as a friend, and an amazingly talented individual. Give it up for Riley, the drummer of Crack Rabbit and Squared, everybody.
Thank you. Oh, no. Too kind.
What's up, dude?
Why did you stop?
What's up?
Not much, man. Not much. How are you?
Dude, cheers. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. We haven't really got to, we've hung out now like a handful of times, but I have not got to just kick it with you like I have Jeremy and Gio and stuff. So I really wanted to have you on.
You know, it's funny because you kept saying like, oh, let's hang out and do this stuff. And then, someone never texted me. And then it's just interesting how that works out.
Sometimes shit is weird. I can't even... My phone's working again. Thank you. My phone works again. It's awesome. Dude, how you been? I haven't seen you in a few weeks now. We just wrapped up a show at Pub Rock.
Yeah.
And we were all kind of in and out of there pretty quick.
Yeah.
Look, that venue's weird.
Yeah. That was really weird because they had us like move all the shit to like the side in front of the stage.
Yeah.
That was so weird.
It was very weird. Like just like having all of our equipment set up in like front of equipment that's set up in front of equipment.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like when you have a really large stage, like we've done that at the Marquee a handful of times and things, but we still had so much room.
Yeah.
And I feel like the stage is kind of in an awkward position. I don't hate the venue by any means. I've seen some really, really great shows there.
Yeah. That's what I was actually going to say. It's a nice venue, but it was so weird.
Yeah.
There was no
odd.
space for like between like my kit and the front. Like I was bumping into the kick mic behind me because it was just like poking me in the back. I'm like, I can't go any further back.
Dude, playing with you has been a lot of fun.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah,
Likewise.
We talk up Meatbag all the time here on this show, and like those are big shoes to fill. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was skeptical. Like I didn't know you, like I didn't know anything about you, and I'm like, Gio, what are you doing to us? Like, what's the plan here? Who is this person? I was absolutely blown away the first time I played with you. I was, get the fuck out of here.
Thank you.
Like, when did all of this start for you?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, I was pretty musically inclined pretty early on because, like, my parents had a thing. They were like, we're going to throw, everything at the board. You're going to be good at something. We did every sport. I was bad at all of them, and eventually, I did piano for like 3 years and it's pretty good at that. Didn't love it.
Do you still dabble?
I've been trying to get back to it. And I do a little bit, but I really forget almost all that I learned at that time. I kind of remember like finger technique, but I didn't really learn any like chord or because it was all when I was was little. It's all the Mary Had a Little Lamb, and then learn to play with your left hand at the same time. I didn't actually get to the part where you learn like C, F chords, and you can do this with them, and etc. So I mean, I want to get back to that, but I haven't. But I did that, and I didn't love it. And I got Guitar Hero World Tour for Christmas one year, and I'm like 10 or something, and that was the first one that had all the instruments because Rock Band did that, and that was becoming the new trend. So it came with drums, and I played every instrument. I was singing and doing all that, but I'd always play the drums the most. And for like a year, I was constantly playing that game. And my parents were just like, "Do you like actually want to learn?" And I was like, "Sure." So like I started taking lessons around 11, and I've been playing ever since. And I joined Squared now, and what was it? It was fall when you asked, so it was springtime. So it's about over half a year.
Yeah. So and it was crazy too because we really picked you up almost like mid-pandemic. We thought it was gonna be over. We didn't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I guess the great thing about picking you up in that time is that no one was playing shows, so we had time to work with you and
a lot of time to actually get mesh together. Yeah, acclimate is a good word.
Yeah, acclimate. I think acclimate is a good word. But no, dude, you're fucking awesome. Like you got on so quick, and I was just really impressed with your skill level. Your set is fucking huge.
Yeah.
You play. What's your setup look like for those listening?
It's 7-piece kit.
Jesus Christ.
So I have like 3 rack toms, 2 floors, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I have it's all Pearl export, nothing super fancy, but it gets the job done. Tama, SLP, black nickel, 8-inch deep, something steel snare drum. That shit rocks. And then like I have 3 crashes, 16, 18, 19, 2 splashes, 8 and a 10. Ride, a ping ride, which is the same one that Neil Peart used to use actually when he used Zildjian cymbals. China hats, and yeah, double kick pedal. That's about it.
Have you always liked using like a big setup, or did it start small for you?
No. No. My first kit was an electronic Roland, I don't know, TD9 or something, I want to say. And, you know, I had that, and I had a pair of Iron Cobra Juniors. And that was that I had, I want to say about like 5-piece with all the little pads. But then we slowly like would add on to it. So I would have 2 racks, 2 floors at the time, and then like a crashes and ride and a bunch of like extraneous stuff. And I always played because I was always big on metal, and that's always what I wanted to play when I was learning. So I was always used to like bigger sets.
Yeah.
You know, it's so weird to me that like, I mean, I get it, but playing on a 4-piece feels so weird because it's like I have so few options. It's like where to even go. It's like just, but at the same time, it's impressive what people can do with them. But yeah, for what I do, I just like having options, and that's what that sort of gives me. You know, there's a lot of variety of ranges that I can fill in a song with a number of different stuff. You'd be surprised how kick-ass that China can be.
For sure, dude. So tell us a little bit about Crack Rabbit in general. I first of all, like you said, like in the last like maybe 6, 7, 8 months, you know, it's kind of how I've been introduced to you is through Crack Rabbit and seeing you guys play shows. It's a really cool like lineup that you guys have as far as, you know, your members and whatnot, and then the songs are fucking awesome. Like it's such a really cool energy. How did this start?
So the lead front woman, Rose, I've known her since, I mean, we were really young. I like 5 or 6. I want to say, yeah, because I don't know if people know this about me, but I'm actually autistic, or like used to be like severely, and it's a whole thing. But
really?
Yeah, I know a lot of people say that, but her and I knew each other because her brother had autism, and so like we became fast friends early on, and I've known her just over the years forever. And then I would say so around 19 or so, like I found out she was doing music, and I was like, oh, her shit's like actually pretty good. And then like I'm around 22, like this is 2019, like fall, and I go to summer, and I go to one of her shows, and because she started Crack Rabbit around that same time, she's been writing music for a while, but she finally put it into like a project, a band, and it was her singing, playing guitar, her friend on bass who learned bass, or like picked it up just to like, because she was at band sessions already, they were friends already, and they didn't have a bassist, and so she just picked it up and started playing, and so she only been playing for like 3 months. A drummer who had to borrow a drum kit from someone else, and I mean, it was in the worst condition I've ever seen, and like no hate, but he didn't play well at all. Like I was like single-handedly like ruining the music for me. How bad he was playing, couldn't keep tempo at all, or didn't even know the songs. And a guitar player who like was all right, but like thought he was way better than he was. So horrible lineup. That didn't last very long. Pretty soon it was the drummer and the guitars got kicked out, and then it was me, Rose, because after the show she like was like I need him out. I need an actual drummer. So it was me, Rose, and her name is Kimmy on bass, and then we found Michael. I met him online. And like both me and Michael, like day one of practice, like we were just like, yeah, this is like kind of working. So that went for a while, and then Rose and Kimmy had a falling out. And Michael's friend Chris came into the picture, and that was over a year ago now. It's been just about over a year, those 4 for the lineup. And yeah, ever since like Mikey and I joined is when it started like really shaping and coming together, and we started over that year, we started to write like a lot of our core songs and get our core sound developed.
Chris is your guitar player?
Rose. Chris is the bass player,
And then Mike is the guitar player, right?
Yeah, Mikey.
Yeah, that dude shreds, bro. That
so
dude
good. He's so fucking good.
Shreds.
I know. He was him and I are kind of similar because he also into a lot of metal, and similar metal that I'm into. And yeah, the first time I met him, like, you know, I was just like, he makes it look so effortless.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing like, I mean, I'm sure it's just like like arpeggios or scale or something, but he's just like going up and down and like guitar's off and he's just practicing and his fingers are just flying and he's just like
crazy,
not even look like it's so effortless.
It looks so like effortless. It's
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. I can't do any shit like that. I'll tell you that right now.
It's crazy. And so we're doing an album right now. We have enough to put together and through the production and actually being able, because as the drummer, I really actually get to hear his lead guitar. It's so interesting. Like he had so many little touches and details here and there. He's super like, 200 IQ on the theory and stuff and loves to like dig deep into that. So he writes tons of crazy like riffs that are like synchronous with how Rose is singing or something that's in some way that it's unique. So he's crazy talented.
So you've had this lined up now for about a year, is pretty much what you're saying?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, just about a year. So how long has it been taken to write this album? And now you guys are almost done, right? So what was it like let's at least start from the start.
Yeah. Well, I'd say at least half the songs on the album, we started, we wrote those like when it was me, Mikey, Rose, and Kimmy. Like for a long time we were doing that. And I would say, Kimmy didn't really write anything, but more like I was sort of figuring it out, Mikey was figuring it out. And so, yeah, I would say stuff like The Top, Embodiment of Wrath, songs like that we keep in mind, we worked on pretty early on. And then like right before Kimmy dropped out, we got Chris. We started working on like Jailbait and a few more songs, and then we just recently we put together like a couple more to sort of round out the album. And basically all we do is Rose has like tons of recorded video, recorded audio of all these songs she's written, just her on a guitar basically. And so we just go back and find ones that we think are cool, and then we'll just like make a full song out of it and write arrangements. So we did that with Burnout Outcast like a couple months before the album. So it's just like over the time you sort of build a repertoire.
Dude, fuck yeah. I love the energy that you guys are bringing right now. I mean, just from what I've seen,
Yeah.
And I know you guys only have so much content available online at the moment.
Yeah,
but
that will be changing.
Yes, I'm really excited for it too. You guys put on a hell of a fucking show. Like,
Thank you.
You guys really do.
We try to.
So do you just kind of go off of what she had already had written, Rose has already had written, or is there like a lot more input, or is it like just a lot of like rearranging parts? Because I told like I'll tell you right now, in my band Rundown Roommates, like we write stupidly. So like we do all the instruments first, and we'll figure out the lyrics later. Like we kind of know what we want it to be about, and we just like put the feel into the instruments as much as we can, and then we write the lyrics like absolutely fucking last. Sometimes on the spot, we get drunk at Cosmic Soup and just like start making them up.
That is definitely the opposite, I think, of how we do it. Just about all of the songs are ones that Rose has written herself, just like her guitar and her singing. And usually how the process goes is I'm not very good at explaining it like technically, because I'll just hear stuff that's supposed to be there, kind of like in music. Like
is it like, hey, we should add this?
Sometimes,
okay.
A lot of times it's not so much parts. It's like, here's what I think, like, here's my drum line I wrote for it. And, like I'll work on that for a few months or something, and slightly changing parts here and there to make it and sort of round it out and make it a bit more like, finished and polished. But, her and I will get together and we'll pick a song, and then I'll start just like throwing some ideas, and we'll play through it a couple times, and then we'll sort of discuss back and forth about like, I think the industry should be here at this point, or things like that. And I'm like, I think we should like change your choruses this way. Maybe we should make it a bit longer though, and do this with it. Some things like that. Most often it's structure. We don't change a lot about it, but sometimes we do. And then once I sort of have like a drum part figured out, so we have rhythm and drums going, then Mikey will come in and sort of write something to fill on top of it. As Mikey writes really well when he has like drums to give a lot of input. So then we'll do that, and then Chris will usually Chris and Mikey together, because Mikey again likes all the theory of the notes and stuff. They'll write a bass line to complement everything. So it's like if there's any more gaps of things we're missing, by that point, we can fill in some, stuff here and there. And then we, as it goes on, the song just sort of evolves and changes a little bit until it gets to a point where like, I feel like that's the song now. That's how we hear it in our heads.
Gotcha. Dude, writing has been really tough for me personally since the pandemic. I talk about this all the time, but it was really hard to write about things when nothing's going on.
Right.
It was really tough. Did you guys just have a bunch of stuff on the back burner, like ready?
Mostly.
Yeah.
A couple, like I think Outcast she wrote that. I think that was newer, but stuff like Burnout, that was an older one of hers. I think just about everyone was something that was, existed prior. Even had some, like she had done previous, like I don't know, hired, but like worked with other studio people and had some like tracks made of her songs that sucked, but there was like some of that stuff out there. We pretty much we just look at that, honestly. She has written some new stuff, and a lot of that's being saved for the second album, but
so you guys are already planning for the future.
yeah, I mean we think we have a really realistic shot at like taking this somewhere and making this something, so
absolutely
we're throwing our all into it.
It's all there. Like if you had to ask me, everything is there. For you guys are great. You guys are fantastic.
Thank you.
How long have you guys been playing out as this like whole? Because I know, like you said, you've really only been this regiment for maybe like a year and a half or so. So like, did you guys play out like a lot before everything kind of shut down, or like are you guys just getting on the grindstone?
When it was me, Mikey, and Rose and Kimia that started, so it was like summer. So that summer through fall, we went from like we did an open mic at Sozo's. We did an open mic at Sam Ash, which did one like every week or something. And like no one's there but our parents and maybe a couple of other people,
Yeah,
things
a lot of our first shows.
Exactly, right? And slowly over that, we started doing a bunch of Club Red shows because we got like this radar of a promoter. And Club Red used to do a lot of these. Like basically, you pay like $15 for a ticket and you can go whenever all day. And it's a bunch of different bands, so you might see
big old
something
showcase.
Yeah, basically. So and you get to. It was pretty easy to get in on that, but also it's kind of like a scam because they would give you like 25 tickets and say you have to sell all of these, otherwise you're still paying for the tickets. Like they put it all on you. And we started getting a little bit of momentum and going somewhere, and then COVID hit and we kind of stopped doing shows, and we had a member of our band for a little while, Alex, who we were working with him a little bit on recording and doing some album stuff, but that didn't really end up working out. And it was around the same time we also got Chris. So, and we got pretty tight with Chris, and we had a couple of shows we did. Namely, we did that one in California. That was like a backyard or not backyard, a parking lot, show because it was COVID. And we felt like still pretty solid, pretty tight on things. And then things started to open up. We had some the show opportunities this last summer, like this June, July. We had some good opportunities there. And we don't have anything this month, but we're gonna do some stuff in October. We have lots of plans for like December, album release show, things like that. So I don't know. We find that a lot of times people just want to work with us.
That's excellent.
Yeah, like we don't spend a lot of time and effort reaching out to venues. I mean, there's some that we like to play at and we try to get their attention. But a lot of times someone reaches out to us because they were at some show or heard about us through some other band. And, we don't suck and, like people want to work with us. So,
and I feel like that's kind of how it starts too, right? Like when we started Rundown Roommates, it was a whole lot of word of mouth. Like we played a bunch of, small shitty shows for a while. And then, you just play with one band that's taking things seriously, and things really do start to snowball from there. Like you start to shake hands and smile and wave and meet these people, meet other bands. And it all comes down to just putting on a good show. I think you guys put on a fucking great show, but it's a lot of fun, and I think you guys put on a fun show at the end of the day. You have a lot of energy when you play.
I try. Well, I mean, we all love the music we make. Like we're all genuinely like into it as much. We're making the kind of music that we would hope I would want to hear right now, kind of thing. Like there's not a lot of guitar bands, in like popular music right now. I feel like a lot of the stuff you don't get a lot of, like that MGK album that came out. That was like that pop punk one.
That was weird, right? Like I feel like I feel like he called out Eminem. Eminem answered, and of course, like. Yeah, it was like of course.
I don't follow rap a lot, but I heard about that, and he got his like ass kicked, basically, right?
Dude, I'm sorry. Like, why did you call out like the GOAT for one? Like, and especially with who Machine Gun Kelly is, I was like, what a silly thing to do.
The man came out with a song called "Rap God," and everyone just went, "Okay, yeah."
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, it was crazy. And then like as soon as like Eminem came back at him, you know what I mean? Like I think he went on like Charlemagne's podcast or something and like said he's like, yeah, you know, he beat me. And there was no music from Machine Gun Kelly for a long time until like he's like, Travis Barker, please save my career. I may have just fucked up.
Yeah, well, okay. He fucked his career, right?
Yeah.
And there was
You can hit this if you want. You want to hit this one?
Sure.
Excellent.
There was like there's definitely a trend going on right now of like like rock and whatever you want to call it making a comeback a little bit because it's been gone for so long. You know, with the rise of technology, we got to do lots of cool noises we never could before, and we explored that for a bit. But now it's like everyone kind of misses something like a little bit nostalgic. You know, it goes in cycles.
Yeah.
Pendulum
of course.
goes.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of missing right now. Of course, marketing execs, they want to guess the market because that's how you're gonna make the most money, and so they see that and they're like, do this and we'll get who I don't know, Travis Barker. He makes music and he's, you know, drums. If you want pop punk drums, Travis Barker.
Dude, and anyone like, I think like a lot of people are like bashing on Travis Barker right now. Like,
No, the thing is that the song itself is bad. Like all the songs all sound like EDM songs, just played with guitars. And it's like you can't just slap Travis Barker drums on it and think that's gonna make it good.
Dude, I mean, that's not wrong at all. And Travis Barker does so much like, I don't know, like mainstream stuff now. I don't hate him at all for it. I don't hate him one bit for it. It's like, man, make your fucking money. Fuck a Kardashian while you're at it. Like, get it, son. Like, you've been grinding on this forever.
That would
and you've played
be my dream.
Yeah, of course. Like,
I would love to be the guy that has enough money to just find people that I'm like, I think your stuff's cool. How about I help you make something?
Of course.
You know?
Yeah. Like, I feel like I have almost the same aspirations in just podcasting, you know what I mean? Like, am I the most talented guitar player that you've ever met? Absolutely fucking not. I'm okay. I get by. I mess up all the fucking time. I'm not really that good. But I really love talking to people like you, you know what I mean? And I love just having organic conversation. And I just want to do this so much that I can get better at it and, you know, have more really cool conversations like this.
Everyone has their, like, shit, you know, that they're good at and not good at. And, by the way, you don't have to be perfect at everything, too.
Fuck that. Never be perfect at anything, really.
Like, I mean, he could probably do a good technical podcast on something, but, you know, I don't think Mikey would even want to, but, you know, like, excel at doing, like, this kind of conversational podcast, even though he's, like, fucking amazing at guitar, you know? Like, there's trade-offs and all that.
Of course, man. And I do this shit to, like, learn. Everyone has such a different input when it comes to this industry, and I want to hear them all.
Fair.
You know? And it's been really cool. I just love the opportunity. Dude, when we got to play in Lake Havasu, I was really blown away with how awesome that was.
Yeah.
That caught me way off guard.
We first got there, and it's like families eating dinner.
Dude. Yeah, well, I was just blown away by the whole thing, right? So I'd never been to Lake Havasu. And as I'm driving through it, I'm like, oh, this is where like retirees come to like spend all their money and die. Yeah. I'm like, this looks awesome.
It's like the Florida of Arizona almost.
Yeah, it's almost like the Florida of Arizona. So I'm like, well, this is pretty cool. I'm like, who the fuck is going to come to our show though? Like everyone's out on their boats and like they look much older and like, you know, these big houses that I wouldn't want to leave, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, who the fuck is going to come out here? Yeah. And I was really blown away by the outcome. I'm like, there's a whole little fucking scene up here. Craziness.
No, we had a great reception actually. It was so weird.
Yeah, the venue was actually pretty fucking cool too.
Yeah.
For what it was, you know?
Yeah. I'm glad because I thought we were just going to be like, I thought they were keeping the tables and all that. And I was like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. But then they moved in. Yeah, it turned out to be fucking great. You know what? We should have played on a boat though. Should have played on top of a fucking boat in the middle of the lake.
I would love to.
That would have been dope.
I'm down. I'm really ready for winter though. I'm over the heat. I am so ready for the winter. Because I just want to go back outside. You know, they kept us inside for so long already with the pandemic. And, you know, we weren't too worried about it when the summer came. Like, well, we're in here anyway because it's hot as shit outside. But, like, now that it's cooling down, me and CJ, we fucking just play kendama all the fucking time. And we work so early in the morning. So we get to work at 4 a.m. and, like, our first break is at, like, I don't know, 6 or 8 or something like that. And what we're doing is like we're just out there, you know, playing some of our kendama, and we realized like the last week, like it's kind of nice out right now.
Yeah.
And then we leave at 1 before it's even its hottest, you know. So our lunch is at like 10, and we're like, it's still kind of nice out. Like this is kind of crazy.
It's getting there.
And we're like, we're all stoked on it. I just want to go back outside and not be miserable.
Yeah, no, honestly. I'm hoping, hopefully by the time, usually about a week or two before Halloween, it starts getting nicer.
Yeah.
So
I heard this thing too, that apparently we're projected to have like one of our longest winters ever.
That's
and
fucking
I'm like,
dope.
count me in.
Let's go.
Like, let's go.
Let's fucking
I'm about it.
I'll drink to that.
Dude, absolutely. Dude, so I have to ask. You
No, you
mentioned
don't.
that. Yes, I do. I really do. But you mentioned that you have autism.
Yes.
That was so. First of all, I would have never guessed or anything like that. But like, can you elaborate a little bit on that? Like, when did you come? When did you know?
Well, I mean, for me, it's like always like been a thing, right? Because I don't really know anything else. But like, I got diagnosed at like a little under 2. And I had pretty severe autism when I was diagnosed too. But my mom was pretty proactive. Like my dad he was working as a gunsmith at the time. And he quit that and started going to night schools for like some it was a internet what do you call it, network engineer, to do some, it's like a big internet thing. And so like grade growing, so he went to night school and then got a job doing that to support us. My mom quit her job, would stay at home, take care of me full time. We did homeschooling. We did a year of pre-K, and that was horrible because they had no idea how to. I don't know. They remember like I lost skill over the year because it was just like the people didn't really want to fucking deal with me. So we homeschooled.
Were you just very active or like?
Yeah, just an annoying little shit, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and didn't really talk really. I was not very verbal. And so yeah, I mean, I remember a lot of my early childhood was just mostly. Behavioral therapies, things like that. Just a lot of that growing up. Speech therapy. Saw speech pathologists. Not really into medication other than like B12 and just vitamins. But I mean, just over the years, I just got better. But like it's not. I think what my mom always say, I think it's still true, is that anyone diagnosed. Like recovery isn't all, like 100% recovery isn't always guaranteed, but improvement is always guaranteed, basically. So, but yeah, I'm actually in a New York Times thing. New York Times did an issue on a study I was in about I don't know what they called it, but yeah, just about like my journey and how far like I've come.
Oh, really?
From that, yeah. If 2015 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Usually we have a little TV up here and everything, like to bring stuff up, but I kind of cut it today. I don't want to say we're rushing the podcast, but we're coming back, and I just wanted to keep it nice and simple. Like I miss just little one-on-ones without being distracted.
Dude, I'm like a 15-year-old kid in that picture, and I'm like buzz cut hair, and oof. I
wish we had it.
I was wearing not super bad clothing, but like kind of comfortable pajamas for me. And I was like, I didn't give a shit, dude. New York Times was coming like to take, like they sent flew out photographers to come and like walk with us for a day. And I just didn't give a shit.
Did you ever notice like any sort of like turning point in your autism? I know that sounds like weird, but like, did you ever notice like, I kind of feel like I'm like everyone else at this point, and like maybe I don't know. I think I'm wording this wrong, but
I think I know what you mean. I don't think so. I feel like it was very like analogous, because I felt like my like sort of journey was very analogous to also my development growing up too. So I mean, as I would go through like different stages like childhood, I'd also be like getting better at certain things. So it wasn't until I got to be an adult and started getting like like being able to be more like self-aware and conscious and be able to compare like past experiences and how I used to think, and to now that I got to sort of have a perception on like how I think maybe differently in some ways than other people. But
so you feel like your perception just kind of changed overall,
like just over the years,
or over time. Excuse me.
Yeah, just over the years. So like I there's not a point that I'm like. There's not a point that I'm like I'm different than everyone else in this way or something, but there are things that I'm like, I'll think of this thing this way, and most people won't, so I have to communicate that. It's more like that.
Because there's so many different forms of autism. And like
they've changed from when I was a kid and diagnosed to now. Everything's different, bro. It's totally different. Because they used to have like.
Now you were diagnosed when you were 50 or when you were 2,
like little less than 2. Yeah.
And then the New York Times did something on you when you were 15.
15, yeah.
And then
I lost
my
I'm 23 now.
Okay, so you're 23 now.
I lost my diagnosis at 12, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, somewhere around that. Yeah, I not officially the situation was the doctor that my mom knew, who was there to work with us from the beginning, who initially gave me my diagnosis. At one point around when I was 12, he was like, at this point, if I was to do another test with him again, I would not diagnose him with autism. So we didn't get it undone because that just costs money. There's no point. But he was like, if I had to do it again, I wouldn't do it again. Basically, he's like, you made so much progress, you don't meet the criteria anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think? I mean, I hate to stereotype and things like this, but you see all those crazy cases where people with autism, severe autism or anything like that, they shred on piano and things like that. They somehow seem to be able to hone a talent. Do you think that had anything to do with your music or anything like that? I know it's kind of a weird question, but I just noticed that so much.
Because that does happen. That it's kind of I call it the Rain Man effect, basically, right? Where that's the way most people used to think of autism, where it's they don't do this, but they're not actually stupid. They're actually really smart just in this one way. It's you do meet people like that. There was someone I helped with the Autism Society Greater Phoenix conference this last weekend, and there's a family.
What is that, if you don't mind me asking?
ASGP, Autism Society Greater Phoenix. It's a organization that helps families and people with autism, Asperger's, all that. My mom's the vice president of it, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was helping with that. There's a family there who there's this guy, I forget his name, but he's 26 now, and he has autism and is fairly low functioning. Although he's made a lot of progress over the years. And he does art, and he's actually a really good painter. And he sells art and makes decent money as because it's really hard for adults on the spectrum to find anyone with disabilities to find work. So he makes decent money actually doing that. And so he still needs help. His mom is still I think his guardian or whatever, and so she still helps with that stuff because he suffers in certain ways like that. But he's really good at art. That's one kind of autism, because that's the thing that people have found now. As I was gonna say earlier, is when I was first diagnosed, you had autism and Asperger's, and that was about it. And now it's there's a whole spectrum, and there's a bajillion fucking different kinds, and we can't even begin to name them all. And it's all over the place. We from when I was a kid to now, we basically went from we know what it is, it doesn't matter, to we actually know surprisingly very little.
Damn, that's. I mean, I to the audience too, I hope I'm not saying anything offensive.
No, I don't think so.
Legitimate questions,
No.
But it's such a. I don't want to say. Well, now you've said it's been cut down. You know what I mean? And it's not as broad as.
Oh, but I didn't answer your question. I don't think so. I think maybe in the way that my brain's very good at patterns, and the certain way it thinks tends to lend itself to be very good at drumming. When I think about how I play drums, I can think of them very pattern focused. And that's why when I learned to do MIDI and stuff for drums, it came to me immediately. I was oh, I immediately get this. That's kind of how I see it in my head. Because grew up with Rock Band Guitar Hero, I always thought about it patterns like that. So you could say stuff like that maybe coincides a little bit, but I don't think so.
Well, we'll leave it at that because I don't even know how to not be fuck up asking some questions. But dude, you're an amazing fucking drummer.
Thank you.
So you said you were a big metalhead?
Yes.
What were there had to be something to kick you off that was okay, I kind of want to play drums like that. Metallica, really? Slayer.
Those are the two big ones. Well, I loved Metallica, and so I loved to learn to play a bunch of their songs, and it got really good. That's how I got for a long time I was okay at a lot of different drumming stuff that normally you learn first, doubles and paradiddles and shit. But I got really good at this motion, because I would do that all the fucking time. Because I played so many Metallica songs, and 90% of them it's just this over and over again. And so I had that unlocked since 14.
Yeah.
And getting that speed down, incredible speed. Because then at a certain point I wanted to start playing Slayer songs because I love Dave Lombardo. And he's running a million fucking things a minute faster than that. And I'm trying to get that speed, and it's insane.
Was it a whole lot of just wanting to match crazy speed?
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. I was all about. I think it's very cool. It's you have kind of two sides to drumming, and you kind of have that with a lot of instruments. But it's very much either jazz or very intricate and very groovy percussion, or just like fucking hardcore fast
Right.
beats. You have like I say like jazz drumming, any kind of not bossa nova, but any kind of like reggae or things like that, things that are more like ghost notes, and they're not focused on jazz is still very difficult.
Oh
right?
yeah, I got a buddy that plays
completely different.
I got a dude that plays. He's a really good friend of mine. He recorded the last EP that we did. Rundown Roommates did this EP. It was called Rundown Roommates Just Moved In, and we did 5 songs featuring 18 different people from like a handful of different bands, and it was really cool. But he's an amazing gypsy jazz guitarist, and like, if you've never heard of gypsy jazz,
I'm not.
dude, it's so fucking wild. He works with me now just at my job, and like, it's the most stupidest chords that I've ever seen in my life, and like, it's so entertaining, and like, you want to do it, and like, I can't, like, jazz is already crazy, right?
Yeah.
But whatever this gypsy jazz style is like a whole nother like little level that is absolutely fascinating for sure. And I think if it's underlooked now, it's not going to be forever.
Yeah.
Like this whole gypsy jazz thing is fucking crazy. I talk to this
cool
guy
as
every
shit.
day, and he like I hear him play songs. He's like, oh yeah, this is like one of my new gypsy jazz like favorite artists or whatever. I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like musician wise, especially like when you hear jazz chords are crazy.
Yeah.
On anything you do, piano or guitar, especially if you ask me. I think gypsy jazz chords or guitar are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know how people move their hands like that. It's insane. But this whole gypsy jazz thing is fucking insane. I'm gonna have to show you something after this, but it's nuts.
You always pick like I feel like you tend to lean towards a speciality when you're good at an instrument. I find, like, I remember seeing this one guy.
You mean like a genre?
Sort of, yeah. Because like I remember seeing one guy who I thought he's one of the best guitarists I've seen at an open mic, and he did this thing. I can't quite describe it, but like he like pulled up his amp, sat on his amp with like acoustic, and started doing shit where like he's like playing both hands on the strings and plucking them, and like doing like two melodies at the same time on the same guitar and shit.
And things like
and all sorts of and then like percussion on his hand, and like doing this beautiful song that sounds like it's almost that sounds like multiple instruments all in this one thing, and it's like fast and crazy, and it was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. Completely different skill set almost from like other like rock power chords or anything like that. Like it's I always
Much
find
more intricate.
Yeah, so like you can't ask like a metal drummer to be able to play jazz immediately. They're gonna have some idea, but it's not really gonna sound quite like jazz until they practice it for a little bit. Same vice versa. A jazz drummer is gonna have this incredible technique and intricacy and all these like patterns, but they're not going to have the raw speed and power of like metal drummers.
Do you think it takes like new things to be unique, because like equipment is changing so much now, right? Like how you can have like your 7-piece kit and then have like a sample pad there that you can hit for like 808s or like anything. You can hit that sample pad for anything.
I really want one of those. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I thought it'd be great just for you can cue in. I could cue in stuff during a live performance with bands or whatever if you ever wanted to do something like that. And I can throw on like some weird fucking effects or something if I wanted to. Like if there's like
for anyone listening that it does not speak this kind of equipment, this is something for drummers so they can hit something with a stick and it'll make any sound that they want.
Yeah, have you ever seen those MIDI things where people use their fingers and they press the buttons and they all make the noises? And
those beat makers and stuff.
It's like, that, but bigger, so you can hit them with sticks.
Yes, and it's just off to the side. Like he could play piano chords on it or samples of people saying something crazy.
They make ones that are like the same size and layout as like what do you call that, where it's like a keyboard but like they're the pieces of strips of metal and you use little mallets.
Like a xylophone. Yes, my drummer in Rundown Roommates, he so he's like a big drumline guy, and he did so many different kinds of drumline and marching and things like that. And I remember we went to like his senior recital or something like that for college, and he did a whole xylophone piece, and he was holding 2 sticks in each hand. Dude, it was insane. He's an amazingly talented guy. I'll have to introduce you to him.
Yeah.
But
that's also another completely separate skill. Like you have people that are like drumline snare specialists, and all their entire thing is just perfect doubles, triplets, crazy flams, all like
Insane.
drumline, like like a military snare bunch. That's their whole thing, and they play those big fucking snares, and that's their whole deal. And same thing. That's another speciality of something. That's I've met so many people. That I say drums, and they're like, oh, drums, yeah, I did that in high school. And what that means is something completely different than what that meant to me. Like, I had a different experience growing up and learning drums than they did. Because most people that grow up, because I didn't go to high school, you go to high school and you do drums, it's marching band drums.
Yeah.
And you pick one of the drums, basically,
Yeah, you pick like a drum, like you pick like the toms
Yeah.
or the snare or the bass
Yeah.
drum. It's crazy. Is there, so like as a guitar player, right? Like I see like other string instruments that obviously catch my eye.
Yeah.
Like mandolin, banjo, like
Yeah.
ukulele, things like that. Like as a drummer, like are there other instruments that like really catch your eye in
Oh,
that
yeah.
aspect?
Oh, yeah. I have a cajon, which is pretty handy.
Those are sick.
Yeah, bongos always super fun if I could afford them. If I could afford that stuff, I have all sorts of collections of like I forget what you call it. It's like a manji or something. It's one of those bongos where it's like like that shaped. You know what I'm talking about?
A benji, I know, dude.
Yeah, that's close. It's something
yeah,
like that.
It's like a benji.
I think so. It's
We probably sound really stupid, but I know exactly.
It's something like that. It's really close to
Yeah.
yeah. So I would have all sorts. I mean, all that shit's fun to have too. That one's cool. My teacher was telling me about it. She said that one's cool because if you mic it right, if you put one on the top head, you'll get all the slap out of the sort of bongo sound.
And you
But
put one in it.
Yeah, if you put one in the bottom, it's and you hit the top head, it's got a nice big boom at the bottom.
Well, it's like the same way like when you mic an acoustic guitar, right? Like
Yeah.
you put like one at like the bridge and then you put one on like the 12th fret, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, I've
like
seen
if you
that.
want to, you can use the internals that maybe it already has and you can mix and match all that stuff.
DI, left, right pair. I knew my teacher was also saying he used to do a lot of times is he used to do direct and then also a XY pair on the front, and then he would do like a over the shoulder or something, mic 2 that he'd bleed in. And he said like his clients always loved that because they'd be like, oh, that's how it sounds to me when I'm playing.
Yeah.
It's the possibilities are like limitless.
What's audio engineering school been like? Because that's what you're doing school for.
Yeah.
You know?
Fascinating in some and boring in other capacities.
So I just have to say this because I've known a few audio engineers and including my bass player and I think he's fantastic. I know Jeremy, and this was told to
Jeremy's
me by someone that went to a certain school or whatever. But what the school said was like, if you're a musician, you're most likely not going to be the best audio engineer because audio engineers are audio engineers, and like depending on what instrument you play or whatever, you always kind of think biasly, and if you ask me, I think that's bullshit.
I was gonna say I think that's bullshit. I think starting out that's partly true. Like I noticed when I was first starting on a lot of this stuff and I was trying to listen to it, I did gravitate towards drums more, right? Like when I listen to songs, I'm trying to actually really train my ear and listen to really intricate details of the mix and how things are interacting and really small parts of it. I of course would go to the drums first because I know that the most, so I know what they're supposed to sound like and I can pick that out the most. But I think with that, it doesn't make sense to me because every good recording engineer I've met is also a musician. My first teacher I had him over the summer, Mike Bullenbach, who is a recording engineer here in the Valley.
Shout out.
He's an awesome. He's this old rocker dude, right? Long hair, super funny, awesome, and super talented. Works with Alice Cooper, like has a 20-year relationship with the guy. And he, back in his early days, when he was starting out too, was also in a band for like many years, doing his own thing at the same time as being like a recording engineer and starting out in that old analog days and shit. So I think, and everyone else is like, yeah, my teacher's like, I'm a drummer, and so blah blah blah, but this and that, I produce for Katy Perry, etc. And so I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah, I don't think so either, and it's something that like. This was a very long time ago, but I heard a lot come out of this specific school, I guess. You know what I mean? But like a lot of musicians aren't great audio engineers, and like since hearing that.
Well, that is true.
Oh, you believe so?
Well, no, yeah, quite a few musicians are not good audio engineers.
Okay, yes, that's for sure. I guess a lot of.
But that doesn't mean being a musician doesn't mean you're not going to be a good audio engineer.
Yes, I guess that's probably what I heard more. You know what I mean? But like, it's crazy to hear, like. I don't know. I think that's a stupid fucking theory. You know what I mean? I think if anything, like, it's crazy.
And also too, because when you do most productions, at least at a more professional level in a job, there's like usually 2 to 3 people all collaborating, like a person that's mastering the track and 1 to 2 mix engineers.
Very much.
You have lots of
jobs.
different perspective, artist perspective. So you can't just like turn up the drums a fuck ton and do all this shit and be like, yeah, because I like that more. And they're gonna be like, dude, the drums are way too fucking loud. Like, you know, the point of the song is supposed to be your voice. And you're like, but I don't care about that. It's like, then you're fired.
I think it's crazy how quick people can get good at shit now. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, for example, I've been playing guitar since I was 11 years old, and I am not nearly as good as many of my peers, to the point where Austin over here behind the cameras, he has fucking, you've been playing slide.
A little bit.
Yeah, you've been playing like a bit of slide. I can't play slide for shit. Like, I
Slide's
cannot play
cool.
any slide, you know? Not even a touch. My bass player Elliot can and things like that. But like, you've been playing, how long did it take you to pick up like slide? Because you never really played hardcore, have you?
No, I mean a few weeks to get like the function down and whatnot. And then,
But you did play saxophone, huh?
Yeah, I have a lot of like music in my family and stuff like that. I was in band all through elementary school and high school and stuff like that. So it's in my bones, I guess you'd say. I just gotta figure out how to make it happen.
How was picking up slide? Was it tough? Careful,
Nice. Good job.
No, because it's kind of free flowing in a way. So there's not really any rules.
dude. Yeah.
And it's you play an open key, so just playing the guitar is very simple, and it's kind of just a stripped down version of playing guitar.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was kind of hard to put that into words, but it's very just simple. You just slide around and you just make songs.
It's kind of
fun.
crazy because like when I do see it, because it is a bunch of open tunings and stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of different styles, and like we see Elliot fucking like slide it,
But
and
you can
shred
change
it
the
for a
chord,
second.
so it's in an open chord, right? But you can change the chord with just one finger,
Yeah.
depending on where you place that on the fret.
And I think that's where pop punk got fucking carried away. They figured out open D. You know what I mean? So like you see all these kids that have been playing
But
guitar
open
for like 2
chords
weeks,
is-
like dun, 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 like you know, just rolling off bar chords and things like that were super easy to play.
But it takes 1 or 2 fingers to change the to make a different chord happen. You know what I mean?
for sure.
So it's very simple to.
Well, I always wondered why everyone made fun of that being so easy to play, and I looked up like a tutorial for someone that doesn't know how to play guitar. So the guy's like, okay, put your fingers on these strings, and he's like, the whole thing, these 2 fingers don't move, and then it's just this, that, and then I'm like, oh, that's why, because literally like the whole thing is just one finger movements.
Yeah. Dude, oh man. Music is fucking crazy. All the instruments are crazy. I feel like I hear something new every other day that like I want to learn. I'm not gonna lie. Like my girlfriend bought me a fucking keyboard for my birthday because I really wanted to learn. It's nothing crazy. You know what I mean? And like I feel so bad that my beautiful girlfriend has spent money on a keyboard that I have not been touching nearly as much as I should.
Yeah.
I feel so shitty. And like I was really stoked on it because I'm like, well, I know music theory. If I label my keys, you know what I mean? I could probably just start figuring out dumb shit like when I'm bored or whatever. And I immediately got into Kendama, and like I have not touched it. Like it's so terrible. Kendama has definitely taken away like all the keyboard time I thought I was gonna have. It's CJ's fault. CJ bought me my first Kendama, but
Yeah, that's why I'm like afraid to. I'd like to like pick up bass or something, but I'm afraid to like invest in another instrument because I'm just like I know that I'm gonna want to do it, but I'm already doing all this other shit. Am I really gonna do it?
Well, it's scary to have so many hobbies, right? Like you like to game a little bit too, don't you? Yeah, you're a PC gamer.
Yeah.
So we've had a few PC gamers on here and stuff, but
Look out!
look out for us.
It's gamer time.
But is there anything that you like to play? Like, is it first-person shooters for you? Is it strat games? What is it?
Co-op.
Co-op?
No, co-op. You remember that the old? It was that old Flash game where you had to try and walk, and with like QWOP.
I've never.
You don't remember this?
No. Usually we would bring this up.
My
right
man's
now.
knows.
What is
All
it,
right.
Austin? What the fuck?
It's QWOP, so it's the
QWOP.
letters on the keyboard.
Okay.
QWOP.
There's one letter for each limb or joint.
It's like Q is like the bottom half of your leg and W is the upper half.
The upper
and
half,
then
and you have to
OP 's
move
Yeah.
you have to lift up the upper half of your leg, and then swing the bottom half, and then hit Q or whatever again to
So,
put
like,
the
bend
top
your
half
knee?
down. You have to like physically walk this AI little figure.
Yeah.
That's so. Hold on, like
I can't pull it up.
it's a don't even worry
have-
about it.
you
So
have-
that's your game of choice.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what are you into? You're like, you have to figure
A
out how to
shitty
maneuver
flash
a leg.
game where
Yeah.
you try to walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, I play a lot of Overwatch still for some reason.
So you like first person shooters?
Yeah.
too.
Big FPS guy.
Do you like competitive ones or like do you like fast paced ones, like slower paced ones?
Likes Overwatch.
Just shut the fuck up, CJ. CJ said something, by the way, if you couldn't hear him. He's being a dickhead.
I tune out what I don't really care to hear.
Exactly. Thank you.
I don't know. It depends. I mean, I don't like too competitive. Like, I remember I really didn't like Battle Royale, but when Apex came out, I was kind of into that because I love Respawn and I love Titanfall 2. And the movement is just so fucking good. I mean,
Yeah.
So I was kind of into Apex. I feel like it did Battle Royale better in some ways that at least I thought was more interesting because I really didn't care for it a lot of times. And by the time, like, I don't know, I played it when it came out, and like 3 months later, I am just like losing all interest to play it because every time, like, you just get fucking like someone pulls some weird ass fucking tech and 360 no scopes you, and you're like, I just came to like play a game. I'm not out here trying my fucking ass off, but everyone else is, and it's just like everyone gets way too sweaty, and you're like, this is not fun anymore because I can only put my time and investment into so many things. And if it's gonna be a video game, that takes like I've done that with Overwatch. Like I've spent that so many hours playing that I do know like every little thing. But I'm quite good at it. But I can't do that with every video game.
No, for sure.
And like every video game wants to demand that much attention from you.
Yeah, like so I hopped back on Apex probably 2 or 3 months ago.
Same.
And I had not played since like the second DL, I think Watson or something like that. And so I hopped back on. And it's not that I couldn't play a first-person shooter, but I definitely was going in scenarios where I was like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Because like I didn't know this character's like new ability. Like, oh, that's a new character. Like, this is what happened to you. I was like, what? You know, like it's such a weird. I mean, it's cool to like figure out like a squad to get like a cool balance. It's a puzzle game when it comes to your skill level and like who has what abilities. But for me, like I really do like going into something like really balanced again, which is why I think I'm really excited for the new Halo like multiplayer.
I've heard that looks quite good.
Yeah, so I saw it in the
Grappling
alpha.
hook.
I mean, I saw the alpha and the beta, but like I think it's one of those things, right? Like CS:GO. Now CS:GO is pretty fucking intense now, you know. But I think we get like a dumbed down version of it for a really big community.
Yeah,
and it sounds like a lot of fun. It looks like a lot of fun too, but like.
Well, player base and matchmaking has a lot to do with it too, because Apex, the thing about that is, like, it's a little bit better now because it's like not everyone is tryharding if you're obviously not. You know, places you in a different bracket. There's actual matchmaking system that works now, but at the same time, there's also like 1 or 2 squads that are still someone level 2000. That's still like your pops 3 shots and you're dead, and you just spend 15 minutes like waiting for a fight. And the first fight, you're just already dead. You're like, fucking really? So like, I think Halo really is like a good comeback for that kind of classic competitive structure, like deathmatch and shit like that.
Yeah.
That's making a big comeback, and a lot of this battle royale stuff. That's why I don't like a lot of it.
I like options, right? So I was really, really excited for. I mean, I still am, but I'm really excited for the new Battlefield. I'm a huge Battlefield nerd, and they just announced a few days ago. Me and CJ were looking at it, but they pushed the release date back another month.
Oh, yes, I did hear about that.
Did you hear about that? Dude, first of all, it broke my heart because I was really excited for it. But second of all, I'm like, they're really trying for their game. They showed in the trailer that they really care about their community and things like that.
Yeah, didn't it feature that famous clip? Someone shoots like a plane or whatever, and they did that in the trailer.
Yeah, it was really fucking cool. I'm like, look at these guys.
I like when people, it's obvious that they care as much as you do.
Yes.
That's what made Cyberpunk so sad.
Well, that's what also made Call of Duty Warzone so sad,
Yeah.
right? Because like they just didn't care about cheat. I mean, I don't want to say they didn't care, but they didn't fucking care.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, it's Call of Duty.
but how did they like come out on this Blizzard platform, right? You know, from World
Yeah.
of Warcraft, which was the biggest game of like almost all time.
There's a
you know?
South Park episode about it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But like that's World of Warcraft is a huge deal, and they attack shit on point. So the fact that they didn't do that for Call of Duty, I don't know who's responsible. I'm not gonna act like I know all these fucking politics when the video game is made.
Yeah.
But like there's way too many cheaters in the game, and there became just too many metas. And
Yeah.
like that was like
Yeah.
where they failed,
Yeah.
way too much meta. Rather you be a cheater
Yeah.
or rather you get a certain weapon or a certain loadout, and it was just over.
That was the problem with League of Legends. It's like you take a break from that game. It's a few hours worth of investment to get back into it because like it's like 2 weeks everything changes.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're like, oh, I really like this character in this build and this is really fun for me. It's like 2 weeks later you're like, why like it's not working as well as it used to. And it's like because they just patched this thing and now it doesn't work at all. That's not the meta anymore. And it's
Yeah.
like try coming back like a year. Like anytime I come back, like I'll play like a few ARAMs just because it's kind of nostalgic, but I don't want to be serious about it anymore. And like there's just like weird shit. You're like, I don't even know what half these items are anymore. I don't know what they do. I'm not gonna fucking read this box of text for all 30 items and be like, well, this one gives me 30 mana, but this one gives me 35 mana. Like,
And I just think about like what were the good games, right? Like I think about like what were the most fun games that I never felt this way about anything.
Portal 2,
I think but
my
that's-
all-time favorite game. I speedrun that.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about like as far as multiplayer games though? Like that because that's what I think about. I really like multiplayer or anything. Not the
TF2 was solid.
What was that?
TF2.
Titanfall 2?
No, TF2. Team
Is that
Fortress
not-
2.
Wait,
Team Fortress 2.
I never heard. God damn it! I wish we had the fucking
Am I getting punked right now?
Team Fortress 2. What is
Yeah, Valve.
it?
Am I-
Austin?
I-
CJ?
I'm getting fucking punked, right?
CJ?
The scout, the heavy, the sniper.
Are you? Does CJ know something I don't?
He's like, I'm leaving.
What is it? Hold on, sit down. Sit down. We'll give that microphone to you.
No, I'm gonna go.
You gonna go lay down? Fucking stoner.
What?
What is it?
It's like okay, that's what everyone made fun of Overwatch. Overwatch was a TF2 clone. No, it wasn't really, but that's what everyone made fun of. It's a class-based. It was the first class-based hero shooter from Valve. 2007, the orange box.
No. 2002.
Okay, let's give it timeline.
2007 was kind of crazy.
It was 2007, I think. Someone can fact check me, but Orange Box by Valve. It's Half-Life 2 Episode 1, something like that. I don't care about Half-Life. Portal 1 and TF2, Team Fortress 2, and it's like 9 classes. It's like the Scout, the Heavy, the Pyro, all this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know those guys, right?
I
No,
mean,
the red blue outfits.
it's in every fucking game.
Well, now because that was the first game to do it. That's the
just
standard.
it. So I didn't start PC gaming until the last 2 years.
Oh, but still, you never. Wow.
I was a console gamer, man. Like
This is blowing my fucking mind right now, dude. That's such a classic. Okay, well, yeah, and it was like the first like class-based shooter, and it had cosmetics, and it was like literally way ahead of its time. I already had like cosmetic loot boxes and shit way before even any of that was like a thing, and like events, and oh my god, it was huge. That was super fun to play with friends. That was a great co-op game because you could do all sorts of stupid shit too. Because you could do stuff like you have a friend that play like medic or something, and their main thing was like when their Uber charge or whatever would like make you whoever they're healing invincible. So you could do some like dumb shit and like
Yeah.
and that was always.
I used to
Yeah, the
play,
engineer who has turrets and dispensaries and all that.
I used to play on PlayStation 2. I used to play the SOCOM series with my grandfather online. My grandfather.
Wait, what was that?
Have you ever heard of SOCOM? See, this is where our age difference is. SOCOM.
Maybe.
So we had SOCOM, SOCOM 1, SOCOM 2, SOCOM 3, SOCOM Combined Assault on PlayStation 2. And you had to buy a network adapter to put an Ethernet cable in the back of your PlayStation
yeah.
2. And it was
I feel like I've heard of that, but it's not. It's like
Dude.
a RTS, right?
it's a third person shooter.
Oh,
that you
shit.
can
Okay,
switch
let me
to
think something
first
else then.
person. And I just have to say, like, talk about a game ahead of its time for PlayStation 2. I think we are on PlayStation 2 here, doing this third-person tactical shooter that is like stealth-based when you want it to be and whatever. And it comes with a headset, and you talk to the computer to tell your other 3 guys what to do, and it worked. It worked. So like,
hey there, Pikachu.
Well, so like you have one dude with you, and then you have 2 other guys that follow you, right? So Alpha team, you'd be my Alpha team, and then Austin and CJ would be my Bravo team. So I would be like, coming up on someone, I would like, Bravo team, hold position. I would hold circle and say that, and they're like, roger that, hold in position. Like Alpha team, attack the crosshairs. So I'd be aiming somewhere, and then Alpha team would attack.
Yeah.
Now I'd like everyone regroup, and they would all come back to me like, all right, let's move to the next spot.
Yeah.
Like, and it was insane. I was like, I cannot believe it works this good. And then it was online, and then we started playing online together and like beating people.
That's the craziest shit. When you go back to old games you remember, and you're like, this was ahead of its time, and it worked this good still.
I cannot believe how well the SOCOM series held up. I'm gonna have to send you some videos because it's crazy. It's crazy how much like weapons you could choose, modifications. You had to choose like how much weight you were carrying. So if you wanted a ghillie suit and you're carrying a sniper rifle or a large caliber one, like you were going to not be able to move nearly. Like it was making you like you had to take out some weight of your loadout, and it was
I mean, that's fairly creative. Not a lot of like competitive shooters incorporate like what do you call that, like role playing elements, RPG elements.
Yeah, of course. And I don't know. I think there's a magic to
Can I run to the bathroom?
every game.
I gotta piss.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna take a quick
Give me 2 secs.
2-minute. I got a pee too.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
That was kinda cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like story games, man.
Oh yeah.
The Assassin's Creed one's probably being my favorite.
Oh, Assassin's Creed, what a fucking fallen legacy.
And we're back. We took a pee.
Can I bitch about Assassin's Creed now that we're back?
Now that we're back, we decided to have a cigarette as well, and we were talking video games that we were talking about earlier. He was showing me some shit, but we were talking about games versus competitive SPS and games that we just really like. I really enjoyed the Assassin's Creed series. I really do. I anytime I can just get through the story of Assassin's Creed, I'm always in.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Assassin's Creed is weird because it's like, okay, full disclosure, I didn't play the first one actually.
That's
I know. I know.
That's the one that captivated us all.
I know. The one that captivated me was 2 actually. I played a bit of Brotherhood, and I was like, oh, I'm doing this out of order, and then
But the one that takes place in Italy.
Yeah,
dude, that one's amazing.
Oh fuck yeah,
it's so good.
I know. I know Assassin's Creed 1 is good, right? I just haven't played it, but I love 2. I love Brotherhood. What's the third one? Reminisce something or other. Revelations or something.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, I got through after Black Flag.
Dude,
I kind of fell off. That's what I heard. Dude, and I don't know why. Okay, I know. Maybe I shouldn't say I don't know why, but I saw the Assassin's Creed movie in theaters.
I didn't.
Okay.
It was bad.
Okay, I don't care what anyone says. I thought it was great. First of all, like, I thought it was fantastic. I heard Netflix tried to pick it up. I don't know if that ever happened.
I don't think it did.
But there's more too if you want somebody.
Fuck yeah.
And this is the ashtray. But with that being said, I thought the movie was really, really fucking good. And the reason that I thought it was pretty fucking good was because, yes, it is a little bit different from the video game. And I
don't care if it's different. It has to be.
Yeah. I thought it was fucking great, dude. I don't know why so many people hated on it because I thought the story was good. And people were like, oh, the Artemis isn't the same. And like a few other.
That doesn't fuck. The Artemis changes every fucking game.
That's what I'm saying. And like.
It goes from like a fucking like a tanning bed to a headset. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, dude. I thought it was really fucking cool. And I think a lot of people are really critical now on like nerd-based movies, right? Like anime movies. And like there have been some really bad anime movies.
I saw this clip of fucking, not to cut you off, but I saw this clip of Mark Hamill, or they were talking about, it was an interview with Mark Hamill, and he was talking about working with Harrison Ford, I think. And they were filming the first movie, Star Wars movie, and it's like they're shooting a scene after the trash compartment scene or whatever, but like shooting out of order. So like they haven't actually filmed it yet. And he's looking at script, and Mark's like, this is supposed to be right after the trash compactor scene. Should my hair should it be dirty and like matted up or whatever? And then apparently Harrison Ford is just like, son, if people are worried about your hair, then we're all fucked or something.
Oh, really?
He's like, this ain't that kind of movie. And I think about that now because that's the kind of shit that nowadays everyone rages about online. They're like, oh my, did you notice that his hair wasn't the same? It'd always be shit like that.
Did you see the new trailer for the new Matrix movie?
I did.
Dude, I am ready for it. I don't know.
I'm going to watch it.
I don't know. The cool thing is, like, there are so many different little theories of how it's going to go and whatever, but I have no idea what it's going to be. But
yeah, I don't think we have any idea how it's going to be fully.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked on it, though.
Yeah.
I'm really, really excited about it. And one thing, if I had to guess that's going to come into play, is how they make these red pill versus blue pill look like a pharmaceutical. I'm like, what a great way to just touch on the times right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With how we've seen that pharmaceutical companies have really fucked us over and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm stoked on it.
Well, that's a part of that's slang. That's a part of culture now that didn't exist before the movie, right?
Well, it was like red pill versus blue pill, but like
that's-
it wasn't like we had you on the blue pill for like ever. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like ever since that movie, it's just like a very popular thing, and it gets associated with everything now, especially politics. But it's like, I don't know, that movie's very influential. So I hope that obviously shit like that you want to see. I want to see something like meaningfully expanded upon on things like that. I don't want to see rehash.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. You can hit if you want.
Thank you.
But I just, it's one of those things, right? I have so many questions, and they won't be answered till it comes out. But one thing I'm really excited, like, I guess, kind of nerdy wise, is for this Cowboy Bebop fucking live action.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
I don't watch Cowboy.
I'm a huge Cowboy guy. It was like, I remember staying up late in like when I was a kid. And it was...
The only thing I know is "See you later, Space Cowboy." That's the only thing I know.
Yeah, the fucking huge catchphrase.
Yeah.
I love the series.
I hear it's good.
It's really, really good. And it has some of the best music ever, too. I think that's what really captivated me, especially as a musician. But the music that they use for all of these, whether it be a fight sequence or like a chase scene in spaceships or whatever,
Yeah.
is all like jazz and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's really fucking cool. And...
it's a genre of music I really want to get into is big band jazz.
Dude, you would fucking love this anime series.
Shit's good.
And one thing that I found out through some reading and different articles through different feeds is that the writer was heavily influenced by Bob Dylan the entire time. And a lot of people speculate that the main character, Spike, is based off of Bob Dylan. And he kind of looks like him when it comes down to it. Yeah, he looks like him. And I just became even more infatuated with the series after I heard that, and how much there's so much musical aspect to the series itself that just made me become way more infatuated with it. And so when I heard they were doing a live action,
Don't fuck it up.
I was like, please don't fuck it up. And we'll see. We're going to find out in November. But they released some screenshots and things like that. And I think it looks amazing. I think it's going to be really good. And who knows? I'm probably going to be biased. Just like the Assassin's Creed movie. Everyone said it was shit. I'm like, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just too much of a diehard fan.
It always depends, too, on just because something is bad doesn't mean that it's not worth anything. It's because I always think about music. Is elevator music bad? No, it's boring and uninteresting, but it has a purpose. Its purpose is to just be there when there's nothing else.
I never thought about it that way. That's really,
you know what I mean?
That's a really good way of looking at things.
The Room is bad, but its purpose, unintentionally is to be funny and entertaining in some way. I think about things like that all the time. That's what was you think about dance music and clubhouse music? I was thinking about that song because it was a TikTok trend and it was stuck in my head. It was that one's don't you think like that, but it goes like that. And I was like that. I was thinking, man, it's kind of repetitive, even though that's such a catchy line. And then I was like, yeah, but if you're drunk or on Molly or something at a dance club dancing, it's perfect, Yeah. That was the point of it,
Absolutely. It's. I mean, lately, maybe since the pandemic, I don't know. Because we're all addicted to screens in one way or another, right? So, it seems like cinema is becoming, a bigger part of our lives. And we realize how during the pandemic how easy cinema could access us, right? Because they were releasing things on HBO Max or like Disney Plus or something.
Yeah,
like
movie
that.
theaters are dead.
Yeah,
We should bring back drive-in movie theaters.
Yeah, I think those are going to be for different things now. I don't think
because I think movie theaters are just different now. Like movie theaters are a luxury experience. Now, and think about since the world's changed since COVID now, and who knows how long it's going to be a thing. But you think about it, everyone's in their own separate thing, right? And also, cars are way better now, way more comfortable, and the speakers are good.
Yeah.
So I think it's time for them to make a fucking comeback. It makes sense to me.
I think that if I had to guess, that drive-in theaters are going to have a different use now because comedians started, and especially Bert Kreischer, but like when that happened, he was doing drive-in comedy shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like I thought about, I'm like, dude, do you know how sick like a drive-in concert would be? You could tailgate.
Yeah.
Like and hang out and like do your own thing while music's going on without not that like there's nothing greater than a mosh pit sometimes when you're feeling some kind of way or everything. But I really do think about, I'm like, man, if I could just grill burgers on the back and like listen to No Effects or Authority Zero or any of my favorite bands, Rancid, I'm like, dude, that would be so sick. We're just grilling burgers and go, whoa, drinking beers and shit like that. I'm like, that'd be so fucking cool.
Honestly.
And I think, the theater, maybe it's dead,
because I just think like everyone's been complaining forever now. Why the fuck do I pay $15 for a movie ticket and then $28 for popcorn and a drink just to see fucking Batman? Like it's ridiculous.
I wonder if it's going to be different though, right? So like
something's got to change because it doesn't work the way it is now.
Well, do you think that the purpose will change? So if I had to guess,
yes,
because like we I don't know if you ever seen like Love, Death and Robots or whatever on Netflix, but I'm like, okay, if I had my little Love, Death and Robots episode when it came to theater, I think just like I said, these drive-in things would be the new live performance and everyone would be comfortable. And then I think about movie theaters. And movie theaters, I think, have you seen all the crazy like VR platforms where you put on your walk in place and everything? All of a sudden, maybe you have like huge VR factories, and then you also have like a small spectators lounge or something for like more competitive shit. Just in those, maybe in the back seats or the front seats, but I don't know. I think theaters and things like that they won't go away, but they will find different uses.
Yeah. I think they're definitely going to lean far more into luxury as it goes on. I think they can't lower the prices because that's like the only way they make money. So they have to lean into the prices. And it's like, especially when I can just watch it on my TV. I have HBO for $15 a month and I can just watch new movies on my TV, and my TV is 4K and a sound bar, and that was like $500 total.
I can pause it and take a shit.
Yeah, exactly. No one's on their phone. I don't have to worry about exactly. So like if I'm going to commit to going to the theater, because there is something to going out and experiencing something, I still remember when Star Wars Episode 7 came out and I was like waiting in line. That was kind of cool experience because it was like, oh my God, Star Wars.
I always, what? Now that you say that, because I used to live in downtown Phoenix, and so when the new Star Wars movies were coming out again, I was like, dude, it's so easy for me to walk down the street and grab a ticket super early, and I get to be there for the premiere of a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, how cool is this?
Yeah.
And I would go, and I would see all these people in cosplay, and like you hear people cheering when they see some sort of cameo or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Like, this is an experience.
Yeah.
It really is.
Same with like Avengers, Infinity War and Endgame. I saw both in theaters. Like that was something that was
Same.
so like I guess spoiler wording, but like, when like Cap grabs the hammer or some shit, everyone in the theater's like, holy fuck.
Yep.
That's cool. There's still a purpose to it. But I think it's very much like, because when AMC started doing this before the pandemic, they're sort of going more to luxury. They have like a bar, and then they have these like nicer theaters now
with the recliner seats.
Yeah,
so
and
nice
now
too.
they got like full on wait service, and some of them, and they're just full on like experience, and it's like maybe $60 total tab or something or more. But you get full food from a kitchen, and it's a whole thing. Like that's the way the theaters, that's the purpose they're going to serve now. Because it's like, it's not just the only way to see movies is to go to the theater. So it's $5 a ticket to see a movie. Now it's like, if I'm going to go to the theater, I'm going for the experience, because I can just do it fucking at home. So it better be an experience.
And it's one of those things too, like if that's going to happen, then I feel like when it trickles down, like why is every local show popping now? Because, theaters are dead, or theaters are different, maybe I shouldn't even say dead. Like, it's almost like a cruise line of cinema entertainment, you know? And so then you're like, well, where do I get my big live music from? Well, I get my big live music from a drive-in, and it's very luxurious as well, you know?
Yeah.
I have a nice-ass car or truck or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I got a little back grill. And then you're like, well, what do you get your other entertainment from? Like, well, it's local shows. And local shows are always packed and intimate.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if there are going to be these different forms of entertainment when it comes down to it and things changing, I think local shows and, you know, what we do is going to be bigger than it was before. I really think that.
Yeah. I think there's something to, like, you know, in an age where it's almost hard to find like community because of how like everyone's connected. It almost feels like equivalently, you know, and everyone knows everyone, you know, on the internet. And so in cases where you can find a sense of real community and like personalization, that's going to become more important as things go on, because that's how you're going to be able to like differentiate yourself and like sort of, you know, move on from just this sort of dark cluster cloud that is the internet, you know?
You guys have, as far as Crack Rabbit, you guys have like a lot of really cool shit. First of all, you have great music. Second of all, you have amazing merch. I fucking like my Crack Rabbit shirt with the big old X on the side and whatever. Like, it's super dope.
It's so comfortable, isn't it?
Dude, it's a really good shirt. And you think about like these things that you're coming out with independently, right? Do you think just the future looks independent overall? Like, do you think like record labels, like the whole image of them are dead, or like?
In a sense, I think it all comes down to like, what are they offering? So you think about like TV, okay? To watch TV, you needed to buy a TV. Someone had to make that and all the parts inside it. You had to buy a satellite. Someone had to make that. Someone had to send the satellite into space. Someone had to make the, you know, the station that makes the TV show, and then, you know, everything in between, right? There's all these steps and layers to it. But you think about stuff nowadays, like let's say producing music and you're making an album, like you had to get signed because to be able to do it, you need hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment in order to be able to record anything that sounds decent. You know, it's all analog gear. You need all analog compressors. You need a mixed desk and all this shit, right? Nowadays, you have Pro Tools, and you don't even fucking need any of that anymore. You can. I got Pro Tools right the other day, and it comes with like 20 or 30 plugins of EQs and compressors, and like they're all pretty good. You can make a great sounding album with any of these plugins without even buying any of them. And it's like the capacity of what we're able to do now. So I don't like what you're paying for when you go to a record studio is obviously a little bit of the analog gear, maybe it sounds better sometimes or whatever, and also the experience and like how the know-how, but you could just do it on your own. So it's like what does the record label offer you, and other than connection, because all you really need is to be able to make the music and to distribute it. You can distribute it on your own, and you can make it on your own, you know? Other than old standing industry connections or like money for marketing, like they don't offer you a lot because the need or the capacity, the technology has changed. So in that sense, it will somehow change in some shape because of that.
Right. It's crazy, man, because especially now, right? Like record labels and, you know, whatever, they used to use what their platform of releasing on was because they released their shit on in every store, right? But now, since everything is online, you can easily release your shit on every platform.
Yep.
You know, we do it with this podcast. You make the most money? No, like that's for sure. But I thought it was crazy. Like
you don't have to be beholden to someone. It's all independent. And like being an independent contractor is kind of like it's like being an entrepreneur in some sense.
Yeah.
Like you have all the tools given to you.
What do you think? Okay. Very broad question here, and I know this has like a whole lot of answers, and I'm spitting it out really stupid because I've had some beers and whatnot. But with what you do, how talented you are, the projects that you're involved in, what do you want the future of your bands that you're in to look like? Like, does it look like bigger venues or more plays or bigger following, like what does it look like to you? Like, do you look at numbers on like social media, or is it like the crowd that comes out? Like, what do you want the future to look like, and what does it look like to you?
I don't look at numbers, mostly because we don't have a lot of numbers. We can look at likes and follows, and it's like, okay, we have a decent following online. That's good to know. But it's not like we're monitoring or tracking that information to turn it into something useful. I do pay attention to live reception because I notice, I always notice that, and we get this too, Squared, but I've always noticed this with Crack Rabbit, that even when we're at shows where other bands are good too, even if they don't suck, it's like, they get a good reception, we get a great reception. Like it's always like a tier above. People really like us. And that indicates to me that there's a lot of value here. And so I don't know how it would work out exactly, but I do picture this going somewhere like big. Like I want this to be like the next Paramore or, Green Day on that level, like the next big guitar band that brings it back.
So it would be like at an arena level eventually.
Yeah, that's the dream. And it's like, even if it, whatever, happens, that's passion for us. But that would be like, I think we're good enough too. And I think we have, as a group, work well enough and don't have enough internal drama, and that we're all goal oriented and we share the same goal set. I think we have a lot to offer. Like if a band manager or label looked at us, we have a lot to offer and a lot of potential to be invested in. That's what our hope is. Like hopefully by the end of this year, we're going to have, the album done. It's going to sound pretty damn good for being all self-produced with help of someone. And we're going to have a couple of music videos, lots of shows and merch and flyers and social media posts and all sorts of stuff that we're all going to bundle around and send to like every label and every person and every connection that we know. Because we have some connections, but they're like a one-time, thing. Like a friend of a friend knows like this guy. So we're going to, one time we can send him something, but it's going to be this one time because we can't, bother him. So, and I think we'll see what happens when we do that. But I think when we present it like that, we cover every base of like what something like that, a label or a person like that wants to see. Like, I want to know how they do with this and how their image looks here and how they sound here and how that's going to be marketed or be how marketable is it. And I think we cover all our bases on like, and we don't have attitudes or egos. So I think we have all the right, ingredients. It's just a matter of like if it'll actually happen, but we're all very driven to make it happen.
It's about how much of each, right? Like if you're making a cake, like this cake sucks. These are all the right ingredients, but how much of each,
Definitely.
And you're just trying to dial it in.
Yeah.
Riley, this has been a lot of fun. It's really cool to just hang out with you one-on-one. I really appreciate it. Where can we find you?
Yeah, Crack Rabbit has socials on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, at Crack Rabbit, at Crack Rabbit Band, one of those two. I'm on Facebook and all the usual stuff. People want to follow me. We're on Spotify, iTunes, all that. Of course, check out Squared. We're on all of those platforms as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we're going to put those in the video and whatnot and links. But, dude,
that later.
This has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. We're going to kick it for a little bit after, too. These cameras are off.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, absolutely. Like, I hope to just have more of these conversations with you off camera and off mic. And I know we don't get to spend that much time together and whatnot compared to maybe who you spent time with in the other bands, but I appreciate your company so much and like the conversations that we do get to have.
Yeah.
So this podcast really meant a lot to me. I really, really fucking appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a fucking good time, man.
Dude,
thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode of The Rundown with Silva. This is my man Riley. I am Tyler Silva. We will see you guys at the next show, and I will see you guys at the next podcast. Bye-bye, everybody.
Yeah, the rundown with Silva. Rundown with Silva. The run.